Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to another StarCraft 2 video. Now what I got for you today is a viewer submitted match of Terran versus Terran. So I am ready for something just a little bit crazy. Spawning here in the bottom right hand corner of Dreamcatcher LE. He embodies the entirety of the Brotherhood. We have none other than the Illuminati. General Kudo, his opponent, spawning here in the top left-hand corner, already says hi and have fun. Such a polite conversation already. He's playing with the blue Terran SCVs, and he is indeed in Platinum League. Both of these players are, and it does look like General Q decides to start off this game a little bit more aggressively, putting up I guess 2 barracks at the very least, right outside of the, I guess, natural right here of his opponent. This might very well get scouted here right from the get-go. This is probably one of the worst locations to put up a proxy, although it will come down to how well the Illuminati will actually be able to respond to this. This is gonna get a little bit strange. Apparently, he is indeed gonna respond to it by pulling as many of his workers as he could grab. A couple of them, though, got a little bit scared. They decided to go back to mining almost immediately, but here we go. He does need to target fire down those SCVs that are building it. Just simply an attack move, I think, would be a little more efficient, though, because right now there's a lot. Oh my god. That hurts so much. He's losing so much money here just by Oh. Illuminati, I thought you guys were supposed to be powerful, but that was really embarrassing, dude. I can feel your pain, and now he's making the walk of shame. The walk of shame. I guess the train rails back straight towards the main base. Or at the very least, it looks like an SCV train right here. They are gonna continue mining. In the meantime, he did start up a bunker here as well as a single marine. Jerry is desperately waiting here to enter that bunker as well as a couple of SCVs. I guess these were the ones that were scared earlier. They are waiting to repair up that bunker. I thought for a second they were also thinking about entering it, which for some reason, by the way, is possible. Regardless, though, General Q, he is just simply setting up shop right here on his opponent's side with now a supply depot as well. Now, Illuminati, he did send that SCV across earlier. He did scout out roughly what's going on. We do now see double gases here being produced as well for Mr. Q. He is just simply going for a bunch of marines, though, for the time being. No orbital command. Guys, I know this should be a given, right? But especially if you are in Platinum League, please get yourself orbital commands. They quite literally... So 2 mules mine more resources than the entirety of the command center plus orbital command upgrade. Mules are phenomenal. Now, Illuminati with a bit of a cheeky strategy here. He doesn't really know exactly what's going on this side of the map, but he does know that he is practically contained now to even go down his own ramp. So he decided to put up a barracks on the other side of the map. So we already do see a barracks now being produced here as well. This is obviously extremely late, but I guess one of the ways you can go ahead and counter cheese is by playing with cheese. You know what I mean? If your opponent is going for the cheddar, and you can follow it up with brie... Whichever one of the two stings more will probably win. And I guess in this case, that's going to be the brie. Well, I think the brie in this instance, though, is going to be General Q. I don't really see exactly what this barracks is going to do. He could go ahead and produce like 3 Reapers or something and then just move them collectively up the ramp. There is now a siege tank coming up, which I do like a lot here from Illuminati. By the way, only just now, we do see that orbital command morph in here as well. Why do players not get orbital commands? Seriously, guys, if you are playing Terran, you should prioritize orbital commands on at least like your first 2 or 3 command centers as soon as you possibly can. Now, a single marine, Jerry here from earlier, will move ahead. He will sacrifice himself for the greater good of the Terran Dominion, and he will now scout out that apparently General Q is producing and queuing up a whole lot of siege tanks here. These siege tanks obviously are great. I guess he could try and get like high ground vision. By the way, there's a single marine now. Oh my god, Jerry 2.0. He reincarnated on the other side of the map. He immediately died again. Jerry, no. Jerry 3.0. Let's see if he can get anything done. He's gonna start gunning away right here at that command center once more. But regardless, I think he could get high ground vision here with that single barracks. But that siege tank, though, already dealing a little bit of damage here. That is gonna hurt General Q here quite a bit. Instead of just making the supply depots at home, though, he's decided to produce another one here a little bit closer by. Well, there we go. That barracks, indeed, providing the high ground vision that General Q needs to deal the damage. Couple more Jerrys trying to see if they can deal maybe some damage. And are you kidding me? Is he just building a freaking command center now in his opponent's natural? Oh my god. You see that ragdoll right there flying around? Well, so far, I don't really mind the situation that General Q is in, though. He successfully contained his opponent, and while he isn't really expending off of this, if he would just throw up an orbital command, like 2 additional command centers, you could even expend to the double gold, I guess, at this point in the game. If he is spending his money right now, I would really favor his game at this point. Because the fact of the matter is that there's very, very little here available for Illuminati to properly counter this. Now, he is doing so by just creating a second base of operations on the other side of the map, which definitely can work out in his favor. A single Viking now also available, and since siege tanks obviously can shoot away further than they can see, this one is very helpful, but the Marines are now moving forward, and they will be making short work. I don't know where I was going with that one. No, not quite, but they will be making short work of that. Now, at the same time, the one siege tank, trying to do as much damage as it can. Once again, the opposing siege tanks are also cheating up right outside of the natural. Whenever Terran players clump up their siege tanks like this, it always hurts me a little, because literally one tank will be able to kill both of them in just, well, a couple of hits, I suppose, in this case. A third siege tank now also joining the fray here, but I really do feel like this, at the very least, is for the most part held. Jerry and his pal James, they're once again going to town here, gunning down that command center. Oh my god, it's so painful. Jerry and James indeed did not Vaseline themselves up before leaving the barracks, so they're not quite as slippery as Reapers. I mean, try and get us around on Reapers. It's absolutely awful. Usually they will be able to slither away even if you get a full surround on them somehow, some way. If a Zergling lifts up one leg, they will be getting out of there. But this is nice though, right? Having that Viking out and keeping it alive is really good. Now, the follow-up here that I would love to see from Illuminati is a Liberator. I think a Liberator would be absolutely great because you can just siege up and then obviously move your own tanks a little bit further forward here as well. Or I guess you can just move them forward because these tanks are still grouped up together. That's going to be a double kill. Beautiful move there actually by Illuminati, and he is going to be able to, at the very least, shoo these units away here from the time being. Now, while that's all going on, there is now, I guess, a group of Reapers here as well. Jerry, once again, decides to reincarnate. This time around, though, after the Marine life wasn't really for him, he decided to retire from the Marine and just simply, or from the Marines and, you know, become a Reaper instead. A jetpack is nice, but regardless, Illuminati is now mining off of his opponent's natural. And I think this is completely unscouted. Yeah, look at that. Mr. Q does not know what's going on. He's watched all episodes of Star Trek, but he has no clue what's happening. John Delancey would be proud. He obviously also voices Alarak in the StarCraft 2, you know, campaign and co-op and whatnot. Now these Reapers though, look at that. Jim is actually doing quite a solid work here. Jim and James once again in action. Now this time around they did get looped up. Did you see that? They took a bath in Vaseline before leaving the barracks. So that's great work by him, although, ooh, nice little loop-de-loop there. General Q is gonna follow this one around for a little while. Single Marine now also coming up, as well as this Medevac. So Medevac actually an interesting choice. Don't know exactly what he's planning to do with that one. Regardless now though, this is a little bit strange, right? Rather than just simply abandoning this position altogether, apparently General Q just decides to move down towards the low ground once again. This is not really achieving anything, by the way. In case you were wondering. Oh my god, Jim, get out of there! Alright, good. Jim and John, or Jim and James, whatever I called them, will stay alive for a little while longer. The SCVs now apparently also evacuated on out of there just because they, yeah, okay. He's now actually going for a third command center, but I guess they were not meant to mine there anymore. And finally, Illuminati managed to break out of his base after countering cheese with a little bit of cheese. Beautiful move there. Countering the cheddar with some brie. Turns out the brie was a little too stinky. We'll be able to get on out of there. Beautiful. Couple of Marines, though, still hanging out here in the back. They are finally going to sacrifice themselves as well for the greater good. They were like, nope, you know what? All of our siege tank brethren died. It's time for us to kick the bucket as well. And they will be out of there. Now, he did follow this up with a couple of Marines and Reapers as well. I am still surprised. General Q, why do you not like orbital commands? Why do you hate mules? Why do you hate free income? I've got a feeling that even though both players here are indeed in Platinum League, the player in blue in this match probably cheeses the vast majority of his games. I'm just getting that inkling right now, you know what I mean? It is perfectly viable, obviously, to you know, improve on the ladder by cheesing a lot, but I am not all too impressed by his macro at this point in the game. Illuminati now actually doubling his opponent's supply. I love this, look at that. Going for a lot of additional orbital commands. Now, the only thing he needs to do is follow this up with a lot more production. 3 barracks, a siege tank, or rather a factory and a starport aren't gonna quite cut it. Double upgrades and maybe like an additional 2 to 3 barracks for now would be fine. You can definitely max out on that really quickly. So far, solid spending here by Illuminati, really focusing on macro over anything else, which I think is absolutely critical. Now, once again, look at that. He finishes up another command center and he just queues up another billion SCVs. I guess that's one way to make it look as if your macro is really good. But queuing up, obviously, is not a great way of you know, controlling your economy. I do think a second starport might not be a bad idea, but you really want to try and get some more barracks out first. Obviously, we don't have any stim pack. We have got 0 upgrades. We got absolutely nothing. So double tech lab on this one reactor on that one, and then maybe a bunch of upgrades over here as well. Push 1 stim pack and combat shield is done. I feel like our player here in red is in a prime position to win this game, but it can still definitely be lopsiding very quickly. Finally, we do see a couple of Liberators coming out. I think Liberators would have been great for both players here earlier as well. For example, Illuminati could have used them to push out of his own main base into his natural, but also to, for example, go for some counterattack. Oh my god, I love how mannered he is though. Right? Being so nice to his opponent. He's like, well played. Smart move there, sir. My cheese didn't really do anything, but still. I am proud of the way that you did this. Mr. Q, being as mannered as always, he's gonna be setting up shop on his natural right now, but he is completely in the blind. Now, this will be confirmed right now here as well by our player in the red. I don't think you really want to push up there, but with these Liberators having absolutely 0 support in the air, they will be picked off in just a couple of seconds, and just like that, Illuminati managed to get rid of those Liberators, and now he's going to be able to push forward. This is a prime opportunity for Illuminati to make the switch towards Liberators himself. Right? Because if you can push forward siege tanks and Liberators, you can maybe even kill or at the very least force the unsiege on the opposing siege tanks, and that once again creates a bit of an opportunity for your tanks to start leapfrogging forward. So that's exactly what he's doing right now, right? He's trying to move them forward, but at some point he's going to be, you know, finding some resistance here from that tank. If you were to unsiege, hit the Liberator right on that, and then move the tanks forward, you're going to be in a great position. Liberators are absolutely phenomenal in TVT for that very reason. Now, obviously, we do see a lot more mining. So I guess what Illuminati could also do is just simply... he's finally, by the way, getting a couple of tech labs here. But what he could also do is just simply set up shop right outside of his opponent's natural and sort of soft contain him, right? Let him mine out all of the bases. What we do know is that even though there's no mules, this base will run out in a little bit. Actually, normally it mines out like a couple of minutes earlier. That's how much mules mine, I suppose. But regardless, you know, like, even though obviously he hasn't been mining with mules, finally we see an orbital. Oh my god. Even though he hasn't been mining with mules, though, we do obviously see his base running low on resources pretty quickly. Once again, a lot of scans here confirming the exact position here of the player in blue. Once more, Liberators coming up here, but it really mostly comes down right now to who can produce more stuff. And I kind of like the position here that Illuminati is in. He does need to be careful. If he unsieges and just moves straight up to the very top of this ramp, it can easily go, you know, it can go very easily into the player in blue, just because of the value that siege tanks provide, obviously, with their splash damage. A couple of Vikings coming around the side. They will be forced back, though, because it's just simply, you know, more for the player here in red. This is getting awfully close, though, right? This is where the siege tanks can actually... You see that? Like, they can shoot all the way up to there, but they can't see that far. So all you really need to do right now if you're General Q is either scan to confirm your opponent's positioning, or just position the Vikings, or really anything, in a location where that siege tank can start shelling away at this army as well. Yeah, so I think this is prime time here for a bunch of Liberators, in particular now with a freaking 3rd starport coming up. You really don't need more Vikings. more and more supply drops floating down from the sky as well. They're gonna land right on top of these depots right here too. But at this point, there's no denying, right, that the player in red just simply has a lot more income. You can see him nearly doubling his opponent's supply. And while General Q is making a decent effort here at keeping this game in his favor, there's really no denying that he is just simply falling behind as far as micro goes. Or as far as macro goes, rather. One thing he could try to do to come back is just move across the map with a couple of his siege tanks. I think that would be absolutely great, or maybe like... Or sorry, not with a siege tank, but maybe one of the liberators, or maybe even a group of marines inside of a medevac and just drop the, drop the opposing player. There's not a whole lot here available to defend, right? You could drop over here and basically kill the entire main base before we probably would see a reaction time. Regardless, though, Illuminati now moving forward, allowing himself that high ground vision, using the Vikings to their greatest strength, I suppose. And once again, he's creating just a little bit of effort here, or with just a little bit of effort, rather, he's creating himself a whole lot more value. Once again, though, sieging up these tanks really closely together, that is a bit of a risk. But right now, you can see that there's just simply so much here for our player in red. And sometimes, StarCraft 2 is just a numbers game. I do not really see a way out of this anymore. You can try and stim forward here if you are Mr. Q. He's just about to finish up double upgrades right here as well inside of the main base for his siege tanks even. Do we already see... Yeah, we do already have +2/+2 here as well. Still no Stimpack. Stimpack is still not to be seen anywhere, but I mean, look at this. Right? There's just simply so many units here available for our player in red. He's now even hitting away at his opponent's mineral line, and I feel that this is indeed going to be a victory for the Illuminati. He's still dealing a lot of damage, but he's inching forward here with the tanks, and while now finally the Marines are trying to get underneath all of those Vikings as well, there's just simply so much here available for the player in red. I mean, that army supply count, it doesn't lie. The siege tanks are moving up to the ramp, and I feel that General Q's numbers are indeed not big enough. It's a beautiful game here, actually, by our player in red. Unless there's going to be some sort of miraculous combat, this game is pretty much as good as over. I guess, apparently, countering cheese with cheese is a pretty decent option. You can indeed deal quite a bit of damage there as well. And at the very least, it eventually forced General Q to go all the way back home. So his main base is now mined out. He did get himself a third command center there. And I guess he may have planned on mining that one for a little while. Illuminati, by the way, still not sitting. Oh, he does have a comeback planned. Hold your horses. If he gets like the biggest nuke off and he wins this game, I would be so surprised. There is now a tactical nuke coming up. If somehow he nukes the entire army, right, there is a chance that he could win. A very small chance, because even if he kills his entire army, this is still going to be absolutely, a very difficult game to win. He doesn't have the cloaking upgrade on this ghost either, so there's no way, right? There is no way. He can try. The nuke is now ready to be deployed, but slowly but surely, this Terran player is moving forward. Now the ghost has been selected. Yep, there we go. The nuke is being activated, but it is indeed in range of those siege tanks, and the nuke gets cancelled. I think there is just simply way too much for our Terran player, and even though General Q was being very, very nice earlier, he does decide to leave without a GG. Interesting. Now, I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you got an awesome game of StarCraft 2 that you played yourself as well, feel free to submit it to replays at LowkoTV, and I might very well be casting your game here in the future. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright, and I will see you once again in the next one.